So sadly summer fades and all good things must come to an end. But there's a sense of relief after the heat of the summer, and there's always something quite relaxing about the first chill autumn air. For a moment we just enjoy the sense of the wheel turning and of something new arising out of the old, of some point of stillness where we shift balance from one thing to the next.
Shows which is flying on their besoms out of the harsh chimneys. It's even noted through ancient texts of witches mentioning, going back to the Wizard of Oz, with the cooking of the heels. Remember, that's how Dorothy got back, according to the wizard. Kind of weird how.
Well, I take it from that intervention that he doesn't quarrel with me that the ban on onshore wind since 2015 has been a policy disaster, along with the opposition to solar power. Forgive me, I saw the former Prime Minister raising, I will take her intervention. I'm pro-nuclear. And the leader of the opposition, David Cameron, didn't know where to look. The uncomfortable truth for members opposite is this. The last Labour government gave the go-ahead for new nuclear sites in 2009.
Let me ask him about the windfall tax. The £170 billion he talks about, from my understanding, most of that is not profits of UK companies. It's energy supply profits at 65%. How high does he want a windfall tax to go?
On the question of 2006, I think I'll give way to him again. What was his party's position in 2006? But if there is any doubt, I'd invite the Treasury to disclose the documents about this so that we can all see them and evaluate them. Because I think I'm right and I think he's wrong. But if the documents could be made available, we can all look at that 100...
in a windfall tax on unearned and unexpected income, which Putin has basically put into the pockets of Shell and BP. That's the fundamental choice, isn't it?
That is the fundamental choice. It's the fundamental divide in this House. Let them defend their position to protect those.
On your left, close your eyes, gently, shoulder relax. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Spine nice and long, shoulder open, neck straight, tuck the chin in. Now gently join your palm in front of your chest. We will chant 3 times Om together. Inhale.
So it's been getting quite chilly at night, and there's a sense of worrying about living with the cold. So I've got a sense of urgency. It's survival, you know. So a lot of us are feeling the pinch. A lot of us are wondering whether we can afford to stay warm, how we're going to stay warm. And I've got this urge to go out and gather a lot of firewood in, which is lucky. I have the opportunity to burn wood, and I have woods behind me that are regularly pruned. So there's a lot of wood lying around, and it's 100 yards away, which is brilliant. It's so much easier. But I feel like I really need to get a lot in because the weather's changed. And it started getting really wet. We've had some stupendous thunderstorms, absolutely powerful rain, drenching, soaking thunderstorms, which is so refreshing, to be honest. And there's always a big release of power in the roaring of the thunder, which is humbling. It's always very humbling to be faced with nature. And so I've been trying to be organised and get myself together. I've also been very busy because I took on a yoga teaching course, which I perhaps wasn't quite ready for yet, because I've had a very long break from the last time I did yoga. But the idea of buying this course, which is an online teacher training course with City Yoga, is, and they're not sponsoring me, by the way. And so the idea of this training course was to get myself fit again and to pick up the body that I once knew that had got a little bit sluggish and a bit lazy, and beginning to feel the aches and pains of age a little. And so I really wanted to sort of stop myself and spend some time thinking about getting stronger, purifying things, cleansing things, decluttering and minimising things as well. So I've been doing that since the spring, which is getting me a little bit fitter slowly, and making me realise how far I have to go to get back to a standard I once was at in my 20s and 30s. And I stopped doing it when I was about 40 for some reason, or menopause perhaps, and then I came back to it, and I'm feeling a little bit sort of like this can save me. So yeah, that's been really nice, and I'm finally beginning to build up the stamina where I can get into certain positions again that feel comfortable and relaxed, and that I can strive that little bit harder to get into slightly more complex positions, slightly more advanced as far as back bends go positions, and so it's slowly coming back, and my body recognises that energy and sweat, breathing, which is great, just brings you back down to ground, back down to yourself. So I've been working hard all spring and summer, and I've not really been putting out a lot of videos, having a bit of a break all round, so I've been trying to do quite a lot.
Now gently pressing here and sit down. Exhale, bring your head down. Gently open your eye. Look down. Humbly raise your head up. Namaste. Thank you.
And I had a garden for the spring. I set out a bit of a garden where I was going to grow peas and beans, but with the heat wave, I kind of had to let the peas go. They flowered once, I got a few peas off them, but they were dying back, and I thought it's not worth watering them now, because everybody was a bit alarmed about water use. So the peas weren't very successful. I had a few dwarf beans, but I've got a bumper crop of tomatoes, which I'm really happy with, and are just getting to that point where they're turning red and ripening, and I have bowls and bowls of tomatoes, which is a wonderful feeling. It's a sense of accomplishment. And there's a sense of wanting to preserve things, wanting to take this harvest and turn it into jars on shelves and preserves for the winter, and security and supplies and a little bit of pleasure. So I've been trying to do a few things along those lines. I thought I might make a blackberry jam, because there's a lot of blackberries now, and they were dry and hard, but with the rains they're sort of quite late in the year, I think, and they're beginning to get ripe now. I will have to take my tomatoes in before everything gets too foisty. Hopefully they're not too green, but I can ripen them in a drawer, and just think about pulling all that energy back in and doing something to give myself a sense of satisfaction for the year that's been. And of course it's going to be a point of balance very soon. We are going to reach a midpoint, and everything, synchronicity in my life at this moment says balance. Balance is what it's all about. So yeah, I'm feeling the change of season towards the midpoint, where it's equal day and equal night, and I feel like I've made steps to go into the next part of the year. It has cankers, which is not good. Kind of all over the place. It's heavy stock. Really not very good. I'm afraid that's quite a bad situation for a cherry tree. Apparently you can strip the bark off and try and cut it back to healthy wood. It's a bacteria, and then you can paint it with an antiseptic. But it's suffered a little bit of stress. I wonder if I should have swung on it. It's definitely got a canker disease. So that's quite sad. It needs treating or it might die. Put on tree.
Today is that they have reflected the sheer breadth of all the different roles that the Queen performed. For, as politicians, they saw in the Queen not somebody who herself was political, but was intimately woven into the fabric of our political life. Lindsay Hoyle, the Speaker.
So it's a sad day. It does seem that there was a change in the air. Not only have we had a new Prime Minister, but a few days later we have a new King. So this is a new era, and I think people are quite sad to lose the Queen because she had something lovable, because she had something lovable about her. I mean, she had a bit of a sense of humour, and she was quite grounded in sort of not being born into the role, maybe. And I'm looking outside and it's beginning to rain. I'm wearing drab colours out of respect. So it's kind of a day of mourning. I don't really know what to do today. I was going to gather some firewood in, but it is raining, so I think I'll just spend a quiet morning because that seems to be the order around here at the minute. So rest in peace the Queen. Queen Elizabeth. I've only ever known a Queen. We were quite proud of having a Queen, I think. So a King, this could be entirely different. Could be a kingdom. He could be alright. He could be forward thinking. New generation. Now 70 or so. But definitely a different breed, so we'll see what comes. Okay, so all that drama over with, I think I need to get on with making some of these preserves that I wanted to make. I'm having lots of wonderful ideas, chutneys, canned tomatoes. I'm going to make some sloe gin again, because I always do. I might make some blackberry vodka or something, although the blackberry season, it kind of runs out on the 21st of September. I think that's when it is. It's bad luck to pick blackberries after a certain day in September. So now is the season really, but I'm going to try my first attempt at blackberry and apple jam. So I put a few jars in to sterilise, and I'm going to see if I can fill my shelves with some nice preserves and canned goods for the winter. Now I'm going to make a small batch, because I have been reading online that even when you sterilise a jar, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're not going to grow moulds and bacteria. And the best way to keep things really is to put them in a water bath and then seal the lid on with mason jars. Now I don't have mason jars and I don't have a water bath, and you can't really stand a jar on the bottom of a pan because it will crack, so really I want some equipment. So I'm just going to make a small batch now, and then I'm going to invest in some jam making implements, including one of those little tongs that you pull your jars out of the water with, because I think that would be a good idea if I decide to get into doing this preserving a little bit more often. So I'm rather pleased about that. I've got 4 sticky jars of jam and some sloe gin to put away. So beginning to get some winter provisions. I've got all sorts of ideas. These are sealing quite well actually, so provided you don't keep them for a couple of years, I think they'll be okay. So I will do my last job, which is to go and get some firewood while it's dry and sunny, because it could rain any minute now. But that was overall quite productive, I think. So yeah, feeling a little better about the whole thing. So the last job of the day is to come and get some wood, and the sun is shining. It's bright for a little while. So while the wood's really dry, and it's really dry because it's been such a hot summer, I'm going to gather as much in as I can. It is a bit wet. I'll just go and put it by my shed to dry out. Let's take this home.